Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the demonstration of TaskFlow, which is an innovative task manager assistant with an automated UI agent. TaskFlow provides features like AI-driven task management, content generation, statistical analysis, collaborative task management that we are going to see in a minute. So without further ado, let's get started. As always, we have the basic sign-in page. And before signing, we can take a look at the sign-up page as well. So if a user wants to register or new on this platform, then he or she can provide their credentials and get registered here. And after registering, by typical means, then he or she can sign into the interface. So by providing the email and password, we can sign in to the platform. So after successful sign-in, the first page that we land is the dashboard page. And this dashboard page houses some certain things. First, there is a summary board here, which provides information like task completion rate, which indicates the rate at which the user has completed his or her tasks across different boards. By the way, before we get further advanced in this demonstration, TaskFlow has a hierarchy of tasks. So at the top level, there is board, and a board can have different lists. So these are all the boards that this user is involved in. User has either created himself or has been a part of or has been included in. So a board can have different number of lists that we will see a bit later, and a list can have different tasks. So the hierarchy goes like this. At the top, there is board, then list, then task. So this is the task completion rate across boards. Then active boards denote the number of boards that have seen recent activity from this user or other users. And upcoming deadlines is very self-explanatory, the number of tasks that have deadline this week. Now, the top level hierarchy, that is the board. This is the summary of all the boards that this user is a part of. So there is this list of these boards along with the information of like owner, the due date, status, or how much progress has been made in the board. So the progress denotes the number of tasks out of all tasks of the board that have been completed. So we can see that the boards have different level of progresses. These boards have hardly seen any progress. And we can search any board here. For example, if I want to search sustainable, we can see that. So the search is absolutely real time. And before advancing, we can see that there is a plus button here, which is used to create a new board. So if we want to create a new board, let's say deadline. So if we set a past deadline, then we will be shown a warning and we will not be allowed to proceed. So after setting up a proper deadline, and we can add members here. We can also make some admins. We can remove. So you can see that the board has been created successfully, and there is this demo board that we have created just now. Now we would like to proceed to the next page, which is the board view page. So this board view page also contains some certain things. As we said earlier, that a board has different lists. So for example, the name of this board is ISD project Explore Made. Now this has different lists. So project scope presentation new, BPM and diagram design, requirements gathering, UI mockup design, each of them is a list. Now each of these lists has some tasks. For example, UI mockup design has tasks like UI concept brainstorming, UI mockup iterations, and we can also create new tasks and create new list as well. So this is the basic hierarchy that we have been talking about. And as well as we can also search lists. This is a short summary of the board that we are in. Now, there are some settings here. For example, board settings. So in the board settings, if I am the admin or the owner of the board, I can edit these settings, obviously. So let's say I want to edit the description and extend the deadline a bit more. So the board has been updated successfully. You can see the deadline has also been extended. Also, as part of the board, we can also edit the lists. I think the rest is self-explanatory. Now, there is another part of the settings of board, that is members. So this board has members, and there are 3 levels of members. The first user, which is who is the owner of this board. Then there is an admin of this board, and there are members. So since I'm the owner of the board, I can remove the admins. I can add another user as an admin, and I can also say remove member, and I can add users as well. So this is the board view page, and in this page we can also add tasks like so we have to set the task name, description, start time, and end time. And we can see that the task has been created. Similarly, we can create new list, and we have to enter the list name and the deadline. We are creating another list. So we can see that the new lists have been created. After creating these new lists, we can go to board settings. We can see that the newly created lists are available here, and we can delete them from here. Okay, so the next page that we would like to explore is the task detail page. And for that, we can go to a different board. So as you can see, this is the task detail page for this task, was the introduction prep. This page has two sections. In the left, there are the detailed information of the task, like the start date, due date, the checklist items. And there is also a display picture for this task, which we can update or delete. And in the right half, we have a chat window, which we are going to demonstrate and explain in a moment. Before that, there is also a vertical divider, which we can drag to resize the sections, which users can use based on their convenience. We can also update the deadlines. We can update the checklists. And we can add checklist items as well. So now we are in the chat window, and this is one of the most interesting aspects of this project. What this chat window does is that it gives a contextual AI assisted chat for this task. So often what happens is we progress somewhat in a certain task, then we get stuck at some point, and because of some minor or major hurdle, we almost get stuck on that point, for days, for weeks, even for months. And this is, of course, a great hindrance to our productivity and efficiency. So what this chat assistant aims to achieve is that, in those points where a user is stuck, this assistant, will give some input or give some help to help the user overcome that certain hurdle and get going in that task. For example, this task is titled was introduction prep. So a user might not even know about Wazoo or what its features are, and hence might not be able to start on this task. So to get help on that point, the user might ask, and we can see that the response from the AI assistant has already arrived. And we believe that this assistance from this assistant will help the user get started in this task and hopefully, increase the progress here. And maybe after some time, there will be some other limitation where this assistant can, hop in and help once more. And the difference between this chat window and typical LLMs like ChatGPT is that this chat window works specifically in the context of this task. So if I ask any follow-up question, not only will that follow-up question will go to the chat assistant, but also these previous messages that help in constructing the context of this conversation will also reach the assistant. As a result, the assistant will be able to help in a contextualized manner and hopefully provide some assistance that will indeed be useful to the user. For example, if I ask a follow-up question like, and we can see that the response to the follow-up question has also arrived. And this is how the chat window works. So every single task has its own individual chat window that is specific to the context of only that task. No other task can intermingle there. So this is the specialty of the chat window that we have achieved. And I think it needs to be mentioned here that we have planned some further features to be added to this chat window. For example, when a user logs in, we can analyze the progress of different tasks for that user. And if we see that a certain task has not seen progress in recent times, we can send a notification to the user with some help from that assistant on that task so that the user can get going on that task. So the next page that we would like to see is the insights page. This insights page is pretty self-explanatory. So, it shows some basic information like how many tasks are due today, this week, or this month, or how many tasks have been completed today, this week, or this month. Then there is some daily task completion and weekly task completion statistics, taking a look at which a user can measure or judge his or her own productivity, and probably get idea about if he or she needs to step up in their efforts to complete the task. We can also see a task progression pie chart, and we can see that a lot of the tasks are stuck at progress 30 to 40%, and very few tasks have actually uh, been at the closing end. And so we have a visual representation of the progress of this user across different tasks. There is also performance analysis, daily task heat map, and we can see that when we hover over each of these things, we get to know useful information that we can probably use later on for other insights. And more importantly, if we want to focus on some certain section or certain timeline, we can zoom in. We can also download the SVG, PNG, or CSV of an image or of the charts. So that's all about the insights page. The next page that we'd like to explore is the notifications page. And I think this page is also self-explanatory. So when a user is added to a board, a list, or a task, he or she gets a notification when the deadline is extended for a task. The relevant persons for that task gets a notification for that. And we also plan to extend it further, as we said earlier, like when a user is stuck at a certain point in a task for some days, some notification can be sent to a user so that he or she may take the help of the AI assistant and get going on that task. Now, another very interesting page about this project is the task view page. And this page shows a consolidated view of all the tasks that this user is involved in different manners or different granularity, I should say. For example, this is the month view of the tasks. So this shows all the tasks of April 2024 that this user is involved in. And we can see, a bird's eye view of the tasks. And we can go to different months and we can see how consolidated each month is. Then we can go to the daily list, and as the name suggests, this shows all the tasks of a certain day along with the timeline and of course the title of the task. Then there is this weekly list, which shows all the tasks of a certain week, but divided in days. So we can take help from this and create our weekly plannings. Then there is day breakdown, which shows how contested the day is. So we can see how much or how far a task spans. We can get an idea from this day breakdown. There is a similar thing for week, which is called week breakdown, which shows the congestion and the overall state of different tasks in a certain week. We can get a visual representation of the span and overlap of the tasks. For example, we can see that this content design session task spans up to this point, and this database schema drafting task spans from here. So we can see that there is an overlap between these two tasks. So as the moderator of these, I may want that there is no overlap between these tasks. For example, this task might or probably should start after this task ends. And for that, we can do two things. We can either, drag and reduce the deadline for this task, so there is no overlap between them. Also, what we can do is that we can take this to the previous point and we can, drag so that this task starts after the previous one ends. So this is also valid. And while we are in this page, another interesting feature I can show is that the site has 5 + 5 different themes. For example, we can go to this. There is also a dark theme. This is the green one. This is the one that we have been showing all along. Then this, and finally this. And last but not the least, there are some basic pages like the About page, which houses some frequently asked questions. And there's a contact form that users can use, to submit complaints or feature requests to the developers. There is also a profile settings page where the user can update his or her profile picture and update information and also the passwords. So this is all from TaskFlow. Hope you get benefited from this. Let us know any of your questions, comments, or feedback about this project. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum.